We're on Terumah Perek Aleph, Mishnah Chet, the 8th Mishnah in the first chapter of Terumah. Says the Mishnah, Ein tormin shemen al zeitim hanichtashin. Nichtash from the word kotesh, meaning crushed. So let's, remember we said that I can't take a Terumah from shemen on olives, okay, or from olives on shemen, because it's davar shelo nigmar melachto. What happens if I have zeitim hanichtashim? I put them in the olive press and they're going to become oil. So it's half oil, half olives. Can I take off Terumah from shemen, from the oil? So I have oil, and I want to take off on the olives, or let's say I have yayin al anavim adidrachim, or I have wine and I have anavim adidrachim. So here, I think I got rid of my wine bottle. I take grapes and I stick them in the wine press, and they're being pressed. So it's future wine. It's a little bit of wine. It's squished grapes. Okay, so why can't I take off? And I have tevel wine. So I'll say, you know what? I'll designate this wine as Terumah for all those grapes. And shalom yisrael. So the Mishnah, you're not allowed to do that. V'im taram. But if you did it, then Terumah to Terumah. Yes, it is Terumah. The wine becomes Terumah. V'yachzor v'yitrum. But you have to go back and take Terumah again. Now that's a pretty harsh punishment, that you have to do Terumah midrabanan. Now the reason is, the Kahati explains that the reason is because if we let you take Terumah of shemen on zeitim hanichtashim, on olives that are in the process of being crushed, then everybody would obviously do that. It's future olives. So I take Terumah off from already ready oil, and then the problem would be then, now I no longer am concerned that, that I have to keep doing the zeitim b'tahara. As remember, if it's all tevel and I didn't take off Terumah, I'm not allowed to take off Terumah b'tumah. I have to make sure that it stays tahor. But once I take off the Terumah, then everybody, breathe a sigh of relief, and now I don't have to worry who touches it, who doesn't touch it. It's a huge undertaking to make sure that olive oil is pressed or grapes are pressed. Remember, if you've ever been here in Israel, when they squish it with their feet, who are you? Are you tameh? Are you tahor? Who are the workers? Who are the ladies that are squishing with their feet? Etc., etc. So people obviously wanted to do it b'tumah, b'cheskat tumah. And if you allowed them to take Terumah from shemen or from yayin for the grapes, then after that, then they would do everything b'tumah. And the Chachamim didn't want to do that. They wanted to make sure, mishum geder tahara. They wanted to make sure everything is done in tahara. That even the wine that's not Terumah remained tahor. And therefore, they made this really drastic gzeira that if you did it, if you took from shemen olive oil on olives that are being crushed, then first of all, the original olive oil is Terumah. V'yachzor v'yitrum, and you have to take Terumah again. Bartenura says, Yachzor v'yitrum the second time, midrabanan. Lachar sheyashlim ketishat otam zeitim. After you finish crushing the olives or the grapes, Yachzor v'yitrum Terumah shenit. Then you have to take Terumah a second time, and you have to give it to the Kohen. Okay, but these two Terumot are very different. Harishona midamat bifnei atzma. Dma'at means dmai. It makes it dmai. If the first olive oil, when you took off Terumah, you have two times. You have olive oil number 1, and then olive oil number 2 after you finish crushing. Olive oil number 1 is Terumah that is midamat. If you mix it with other tevel, if there isn't 100 to 1, Terumah is batel 100 to 1. So if there isn't 100 to 1 from of chulin to Terumah, then it's dmai. And you have to consider the whole thing like sapik Terumah, and then big problems. If someone consumes Terumah by accident, he pays back keren and chomesh. Okay, he has to give the Kohen the original amount plus a fifth. So that applies to the original, the first Terumah that he took off, even though you weren't allowed to. Avalo shnia. But that rule does not apply to the second Terumah, because the second Terumah is only midrabanan, and therefore the second Terumah is really not Terumah d'oraita. And then ironically, the Bartenura says something very interesting. Okay, therefore, the second Terumah is only d'rabanan. The second Terumah is really tevel midrabanan. Because remember, I had these original grapes that I'm in the middle of crushing. So I took off wine. Now I took off other grapes. Okay, the first wine I took off, interestingly, okay, that was originally Terumah. The second one I took off, now it is not Terumah, it doesn't have a din of Terumah. You just took off midrabanan, but still you have to take off masrot from it. Why? Because this was the original grapes that you never took off. You took off Terumah, you didn't take off maser sheni, maser ani, etc., etc. And that's what he says. That's why you have to take masrot mimakom acher midoraita tevel gamur, because it's really tevel. That originally, that the second thing is still tevel vis-a-vis the Terumah maser and the maser rishon. Okay, we'll stop here if you have any comments or questions. So I just want to, before we stop, that's a very strict, pretty harsh legislation of the Chazal, who wanted to make sure that a person didn't take off Terumah in such a way that it would cause him to produce produce with Tumah. And I think it's a commentary to what degree Chazal really wanted people to maintain their adherence to keeping things tahor. If you have any comments or questions, email me at rspolter@gmail.com. I'll dedicate this learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.